Great to have you with us tonight, folks. Thanks for watching MSNBC, The Ed Show in the 8 o'clock hour, our first show. Hope to be here for a long time. If you've never seen The Ed Show before, I just want to tell you just a couple of things off the top. I use this graph a lot on The Ed Show because this is where America is. This right here, the red line, is where the top 1% has gone over the last 30 years in income in this country, over 300%. This line, of course, has the Republicans protecting them and Fox News advocating for them. Down here is a blue liner. I want you to view me as a blue liner. I'm down there with those guys who take a shower after work. I'm down there with the 99%ers, the men and women of America who have not seen their wages go up over the last 30 years. They're the people who are in the streets. That's what this show is about. I believe in universal health care. I believe in collective bargaining. I believe in public education, and the Republicans want to destroy it. And I believe that we should have gotten the hell out of Iraq and Afghanistan a long time ago. And if you are someone who doesn't feel like they have a voice in this country, I invite you to join my show every night, Monday through Friday at 8 o'clock. I'll talk about this, what we can do about it, how we can make this country better, and how we can bring income equality to America again and have our economy thrive. Just one of the many issues I love to talk about. Well, the president kicked off a road trip in Las Vegas today where it's really ground zero for housing. Nevada leads the nation with 1 in 44 homes in foreclosure. Republicans want to do anything about it? Not really. Nevada also leads the nation with 13.4% unemployment rate. President Obama is shifting strategies after Senate Republicans have blocked 2 separate attempts to pass the Jobs Act. President Obama, well, he's now going with a very clear message.
We can't wait for an increasingly dysfunctional Congress to do its job. Where they won't act, I will. If Congress acts, then people in Nevada and all across the country can get significant relief. But remember what I said, we can't just wait for Congress. Until they act, until they do what they need to do, we're going to act on our own. Because we can't wait for Congress to help our families and our economy.
So whose side are you on, Americans? Republicans instantly attacked the president's "We can't wait" slogan on Twitter. They got nothing better to do. Speaker Boehner tweeted, "We can't wait for Senate Democrats to approve more than a dozen House-passed bills." House Majority Leader Eric Cantor played with the Twitter and said, we can't wait for the Senate Democrats to start doing their jobs and pass the forgotten 15 House-passed bipartisan bills. Excuse me, the 15 bills Cantor is talking about are all about tax cuts and deregulation. They do nothing, zero, to create jobs in this country. RNC Chairman Reince Priebus tweeted, "We can't wait to make Barack Obama a one-term president." Pretty deep, huh? Remember, Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell said the very same thing last year. It's been his mission. Republican leadership continues to play around with Twitter instead of finding any solutions for millions of unemployed Americans. Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell led a filibuster, a record filibuster, again against 400,000 teachers, police officers, and firefighters last week. And on Sunday, the gentleman from Kentucky acted like it wasn't his problem.
I certainly do approve of firefighters and police. The question is whether the federal government ought to be raising taxes on 300,000 small businesses in order to send money down to bail out states for whom firefighters and police work. They are local and state employees.
That senator is flat out wrong. Mitch McConnell from Kentucky. The Brookings Tax Policy Center estimated only 1.9% of small businesses are in the 2 top brackets. The millionaire's tax would only affect less than 1.5% of small business owners across this country. McConnell wants to pass the buck when Republican governors have been on a year-long mission to cut public employees. McConnell's plan to create jobs consists really of 2 things: cuts and deregulate.
With regard to the private sector, what it needs is for us to quit spending, quit borrowing, quit over-regulating, and quit threatening to raise taxes. The private sector is not going to get going here until the government gets its foot off the throat and lets people who know how to create jobs and grow businesses do that.
Ever been in business, Senator? How do you know? Haven't you been a government guy all your life? The Speaker of the House is on the same page with McConnell.
What we need to do is liberate the economy from the shackles of Washington. Job creation in America is facing what I would call a triple threat from our government. And I think the first aspect of that threat is excessive regulation.
Republicans would like to strip every regulation in America. Just get rid of it. That's the problem, which, of course, takes us right back to the mortgage crisis in this country. The president's plan, it might not be perfect, but it's better than letting the banks run wild on the housing market with absolutely no rules. President Obama has the power of the pen, but Congress still has the power of the purse. And as long as Boehner and McConnell hold the purse strings, the president needs to do everything he possibly can to help the 99%. Let me just put it to you this way. If you want to know something about me and about this show, I tell it like it is every night. Let's start out in this 8 o'clock hour putting the cards on the table. I think it is an absolute national disgrace that the Republican Party has thrown up so much obstruction to this president, beyond politics, thrown up so much obstruction to the American people. We are over a year away to an election. Nothing's going to get done. They won't allow anything to get done. They'll vote down everything. That red line I showed you, that's who they believe in, that's who they protect, and that's who gets them reelected, and that's all they care about. That's a disgrace, because those folks on the blue line that I showed you, they voted too, and their wishes are not being granted in any way, shape, or form. You can look at any poll across this country. The American people are with this president. The American people want the Congress to do something, and they do absolutely nothing. Time and time again, they have said no. They said no to the auto loan strategy to help the automakers. Where are they today? Making money, signing new deals with labor, moving forward, adding jobs, bringing manufacturing back to America. Where were the Republicans on that? They hated it. They didn't want anything to do with it. The stimulus package, fought them all the way on that. I mean, it's been time and time again. We have people in this country who now cannot be dropped from their health care insurance if they get sick, and the Republicans were against that too. So you be the judge. I ask the audience from time to time, is there enough evidence for you on the table to make a decision as to who is absolutely ruining this country? Yes, the Republicans and the Republican leadership, they are a national disgrace. When I go across this country and I meet people who are unemployed, I meet people who have lost their homes, I wonder, what's it like in Washington? Well, there was a story last week about how the average income in Washington is better there than it is anywhere else. I wonder why. I wonder if it has anything to do with all those corporations lining the pockets of the lobbyists to protect those redliners that I showed you. We got a lot to talk about in this hour. I hope you'll join me every night. Get your cell phones out. I want to know what you think. Tonight's question: should the president have used his executive power sooner? Text A for yes, text B for no to 622-639. You can always go to our blog at ed.msnbc.com. We'll bring you the results later on in the program. We do a poll every night. Joining me now is Bernie Sanders, senator from Vermont, independent. Well, this is my first 8 o'clock show. I thought for sure I'd have my favorite senator on the program tonight, a man who I have immense respect for, who tells it like it is. Senator, we're now down to the President of the United States using executive orders to get something done in the economy. What's that say about where we are?
It says that in the midst of the worst economic crisis in modern American history, Ed, 16% of our people, 25 million Americans, unemployed, underemployed. Numbers are higher for the young kids graduating high school and college. Older workers, 55, 60, they're losing their jobs now. You know what? If we don't turn this economy around, those people are never going to have another job for the rest of their lives, impacting their retirement. In the midst of all of that, the collapse of the middle class, you got the Republicans living in another planet, not even recognizing the severity of the crisis, let alone doing anything about it. You know, when you have folks like John Boehner and Mitch McConnell talking about trickle-down economics, does anybody in their right mind believe that we need to give more tax breaks to millionaires and billionaires? We saw that movie under the Bush administration. Yeah. And at the end of the day, under his administration, we lost 500,000 private sector jobs. They talk about deregulation. You're absolutely right. That's what we did to Wall Street. And the result was they plunged us through their greed and recklessness into this recession. And it is really astounding, the intellectual bankruptcy of the Republicans.
There's no question about it. And now the president is trying to do something for those who are upside down in their mortgages, who are underwater, so to speak. The president laid out his mortgage plan. Let's take a look.
Number one, the barrier will be lifted that prohibits responsible homeowners from refinancing if their home values have fallen so low that what they owe on their mortgage is 25% higher than the current value of their home. Second, there are going to be lower closing costs, and certain refinancing fees will be eliminated, fees that can sometimes cancel out the benefits of refinancing altogether. Third, there's going to be more competition so that consumers can shop around for the best rates.
Senator, what do you think of the plan? Can you support it? Do you believe in it?
Well, I don't know that it goes as far as we should. You know, you got millions of homes that are underwater, but certainly the president is right in addressing that issue. And clearly he has got to, in my view, Ed, do two things. He has got to do everything that he can through executive orders, but at the same time, week after week, he's got to take the issue back to the Congress, let the Republicans vote no. So I support what he's doing, but I believe we have got to let the American people know that a week from today, as I understand it, there's going to be a bill in the Senate to rebuild our infrastructure, our roads, our buildings, our deteriorating buildings, our tunnels, our bridges. Almost everybody in America understands that with the collapsing infrastructure, we've got to rebuild it, and we can create millions of jobs doing that. Let's see if we're going to get one Republican vote.
So this bill's coming next week in the Senate, you think?
I believe it's coming next week.
Okay. And this is a piecemeal to the Jobs Act, some of the things that we've seen in the past. And this is going to deal strictly with infrastructure.
Infrastructure, right. Roads and bridges.
Well, it would seem to me that the Republicans aren't going to give you any help on this at all. We'll see. Senator, great to have you with us tonight. I appreciate your time. Let's now turn to MSNBC analyst and Pulitzer Prize-winning columnist of the Washington Post, Eugene Robinson. Eugene, good to have you with us tonight.
Great to be here, Ed, and welcome to 8 o'clock.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I plan on working out after the program tonight. I don't know how long that program is going to last. Executive orders to boost the economy. Can you believe we're at this point in this country?
Yeah, that's where we are, though. It's very clear, as Senator Sanders said, Republicans are going to vote no on everything. The infrastructure bill that he just mentioned, you know, this used to be a bipartisan no-brainer for Congress, right? Everybody knows that you have to improve the infrastructure from time to time. They are, I predict, as you predict, going to vote no as a bloc against legislation that obviously needs to be passed on whatever basis, for whatever reason, it needs to be passed.
So it's kind of twofold. It looks like the president is systematically just explaining to the American people over and over again there isn't anything he could do, that he could get any help from the other side of the aisle to jumpstart the economy and get us on the right track again.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Ed. He's illustrating as if we needed more illustration, but I think we do. He's illustrating that he's out there putting these ideas on the table that are obvious no-brainers, and they're being turned down every single time. And he has public opinion on his side. What he has to do somehow is translate that public opinion, that public support, into pressure on the Republicans from their constituents to actually get off the dime and do something for the country.
And finally, do you think, Eugene, that the Republicans are behind closed doors afraid of the 99 percenters? Because it doesn't look like they're going away, and it looks like they continue to resonate with the American people in the polls supporting them. What do you make of it?
I think the Occupy Wall Street protest, the concept of the 99 percenters, I think that's changed the atmosphere somewhat. You see that Eric Cantor, even Eric Cantor, felt obliged to at least prepare some sort of speech about inequality. He didn't actually deliver it. He was afraid because it was going to be public, but actually to to address the subject that's on so many people's minds. And so I'm sensing more nervousness than I did before. It's going to be very interesting.
Yeah, they have definitely affected the discourse in the country, no doubt. MSNBC analyst Eugene Robinson, thanks for your time tonight. I appreciate it. Hope to have you back often.